Welcome to the Dallas Duo Podcast,
your weekly wellness coffee date.
We're friends in Dallas, always looking for the best ways to optimize our health
and have fun along the way.
This week, we're talking about our wellness routines. And specifically, today we're going to talk about our workout routines. Because this is probably the question that I get the most on Instagram is what I do for workouts. And I think part of that is because I mostly talk about nutrition, but I think you get a lot of questions about your workouts.
Yes. And it's one of our favorite things to talk about as well.
It's actually what kind of brought us together. A lot of times our streaks of ideas and inspiration often come when we're doing exercise. And so a lot of our texts have been like, ... I'm on the stair stepper. And it's like, me too.
Yeah, I post about my workouts pretty regularly. I'm excited to share about it too, because for both of us, it's something that's really evolved over time. So we thought today we would get candid about why movement is a non-negotiable for both of us and how we make it a sustainable part of our lives as busy moms, wives, career, all the things that we have going on.
And I think this is such an important topic because I am a dietitian that believes that it's not just food and that it's not just fitness in order for us to improve our health. And I think that that is unique in that we both appreciate the fact that we have to take a really holistic approach to wellness, which is why so many of the people we talk to are not just about one specific area, that we try to take a well-rounded approach to our speakers too, because we know that it's not just you being an expert in nutrition that's going to get you to your ultimate health goals. And over time, we've really evolved in our fitness routines and I think our why and our reason for movement. So
exactly. With our mindset as well, like really having that focus on being in it for the long game of like health and longevity and just feeling good and energetic just for our life.
Yeah, that's so true. Okay. So like if we go back, when do you think you first got into fitness and working out? Like what drove that?
I was a teenager. And so I was, cheerleading and dancing. And so I was active with that. The way I got into it was through step classes. So that will age me, which is fine. And then also got into running. And that was actually something that my dad and I did together. We would do, 5Ks and 10 together. But so that was where I started. What about you?
Actually brings back my mom literally drugged me to do, I want to say it's a 5K, but it was not. It was like a 1 mile tulip run. And if you are from Washington, you know what this is because the Tulip Festival is famous in Washington, where I'm from. And I remember thinking in my head it was going to be really fun. And I was 10 or 12 and did not train, obviously, and just went out there and realized that a mile is really far if you have never trained for a mile before. So fitness for me always felt like work unless it was like playing soccer or basketball in like an organized sport. As a young child, I played sports, but I didn't really get into fitness and the enjoyment of it probably until senior year of high school because I had been dumped and I wanted the ultimate revenge body. Like I was that girl. I was like, look at me now, see me in a year, check back. It was like before the Kardashians came out. I was the original revenge body. We've all been there. And it worked, right? It worked and it wasn't for good reasons, but
yeah. Well, and I think it's interesting how things can evolve as far as your mindset and the reasons for working out and even your outlook on it. I think when I first started, it was very positive, and there were times where I feel like it became too much of a focus. Yeah. But I also remember when I was a kid, my mom doing like jazzercise and Richard Simmons, and she never really had an attitude about it that like she had to do it or whatever. I mean, she fully seemed to enjoy it. Maybe it was the cute leotards. I don't know. But
it's got those cute workout sets from someone.
Yes.
No, I think that's true. I think the mindset has shifted so much. I think for me, I went into it with that aesthetic goal. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, that took over for quite a while. And I went to SMU. And so this is a podcast. We are very honest. SMU has the richest, smallest women you will ever meet in your life. The most beautiful.
This is true.
And I emphasize this because after my first year at SMU, I went back over the summer and I asked my admissions counselor why he had told me to go to SMU. And he told me beautiful women are allowed to be smart there. And I was so offended.
Wow. I was like, that's honest.
I was, excuse me? And he's like, I knew that you'd be fine there. And I was like, it's actually been really hard to transition because I felt like there was this new benchmark of aesthetics that I had never been exposed to before. I had never met so many beautiful women in one place. And I think that that drove my inspiration for fitness even more because I felt like there was an old benchmark that had suddenly been like a 10x version.
It's funny you say that because I have kind of a similar story in a different way. We moved here in 2002. I was pregnant with Marissa, and the health club, it was a beautiful health club, like the place to work out in Dallas.
It was kind of like, I would say like what Equinox's.
Yes.
It was like a pre-Equinox.
Pre-Equinox. It was the premier club, and moving from New Mexico is a lot more laid back and casual and
kind of similar to the Pacific Northwest.
Yes,
a little bit
in terms of like aesthetic and vibe. And so I just remember walking into that gym and being like, women are working out in makeup and diamonds here. Makeup and diamonds. It was like so different to me. We moved here. I was 6 months pregnant. So talk about like
feeling really positive in your body.
Fantastic. But I did kind of take on that too. Like, oh, this is like the benchmark. I need to be able to keep up with this. And also the added pressure. And Ryan never put this on me. It was more self-inflicted. But, the added pressure of like, my husband's a trainer. I have to... I have to look
you're married to a trainer,
way.
Like the stereotype that comes with
Yes. And so this club was very much a family club. Like a lot of our friends that we met were from there. And so it was a community for us. So
and like onboarding to like how Dallas performs just like as a society. It's so different. If you're not from Dallas, it's like a very different experience for people. And when I go home, people are so confused. They're like, why are you so dressed up for the gym? And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, my clothes
This is my usual. Well, and this gym happened to be by SMU. So that's why I say it's really funny because there were a lot of SMU sorority girls that would work out there. They had money to hire a trainer. It just felt so crazy to me that I was just a couple years older than them. But here I was expecting my first baby and my husband was training them. So, I mean, talk about like, I guess I had some pretty good confidence, to be able to manage my emotions around that.
Yeah, it's such an interesting place and like interesting environment. And I think once you're in it, it's different. But I always forget when I go home, it's like much more casual. People are very different about their relationships with fitness and not in a bad way, probably in a healthier way. But that can be really hard to overcome. And I don't think,
especially when you're younger, it's really easy to get caught up in the aesthetics of it versus like how it makes you feel or what it's doing for your health. Not to say aesthetics are not a focus. For me, it's like happy benefit, but like that's not the main thing now is how I feel.
I had the opportunity to intern at Equinox with their Tier 4 program, which I think now is called Tier X, when I was in grad school. And that was the first time that things really started changing for me. I met the now owner of Lift House, Tyler, and he was the only married trainer on the team. And I was 20 or 21. I was graduating from undergrad, going into grad school. He like put together a workout program for me and ran me through it. And it was the first time that there was significant strength training and not just cardio. And I'm so confused because I was like, I'm clearly just trying to be like very skinny so that all these trainers want to marry me. And he was like, you need to lift weights. And I was like, I don't think you understand the mission that I am under here. I'm going to drink lots of coffee and I just want a six pack. And he's like, that's not how it works. And also disclaimer, please do not marry any of these trainers because they are not good people. I took some of his selected advice, but over time I learned that, wow, I am getting really injured from just doing cardio over and over again. I had 5 stress fractures in 6 years. I lost my cycle for 3 years. I really didn't listen until I experienced that female athlete triad of underfueling, overtraining. And then I started to see like, oh, there is incredible benefit from strength training and a well-rounded program that I'm not going to see if I just focus on a calories in, calories out approach.
That's a really good point. In my, late teens, early 20s, same thing. I was really into running because it was like, it made me feel good, but I was like, oh, it's also supposed to keep me skinny.
And there was that Jillian Michaels messaging out there that was like, you can lift weights, but like if you want to burn calories, you need to run.
In my 20s, I was focused all on like things to stay skinny, aesthetics. And I think that I just assumed thin and skinny health and wellness, at least like in my head, equivalent. And I
like
think
if you're thin, you're healthy.
Yeah. And I think that message was sold probably like in the media, also where we live. This is probably offensive. We can cut it, whatever. But the smallest,
keep going.
The smallest, richest people, most beautiful people I've ever met live in Dallas. And so when I go home to Washington, like the natural size of humans is just bigger. And I don't know why that is, but people are just small here, and that's fine. I'm not a small human. I'm not like naturally falling out of a double zero. It's just not the case. The emphasis of strong was not a thing. Like when I was in college.
I mean, I'm a little bit older, but we did both grow up with that. What I'm trying to say is I think that women these days, especially younger women, are actually exposed to more body types that are seen as healthy and strong. It's not just one body type.
Yeah, it was like those jeans fit a size 2 person, and those are the jeans that are available.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. If
like it's not just one ideal body. And I think even that, like, love them or hate them, the Kardashians, I think, changed a lot of that.
I think that's really true.
Especially for the generation that's like, say, like my daughter's age and like a little bit older. Just seeing like there's different ideals. And I think social media in general has helped with that, because think we weren't seen in magazines. Like that's where I was like reading when I was like in my teens and 20s. That's where you would see this body ideal of like skinny
Victoria Beckham and like what she ate, and like giving you very strict ideals of like, you do this in order to be this way, and there's only one way. And now we were at the Arboretum for a concert last night, and there were all these like 20-year-old college girls, and they were all like, so different, like sizes and everything. But the thing that stuck out to me the most was they were all dressed so differently. And I feel like I came from that culture of like, we were all wearing Abercrombie, and we were like all wearing the same thing, and we were all trying to be one way. And now there's more like of this diversity of, I feel like there's like less stringent guidelines, even around like trends and fashion and styles, that it's not as like black and white as it used to be. And I really appreciate that.
I feel like there's more variety, which is great when it comes to fashion and body image.
This push of emphasis of strong, I think it took me a long time to be like okay with this idea that like you naturally have a really strong body, you naturally put on muscle really easily. And that shift for me, working with clients repeatedly who were telling me that they didn't like their body, or they were trying to like break their body down into different things, helped me with my messaging. I think you teach something, and so it sticks with you better. But two, as I got older, I found this benefit of, when I strength train, I actually get faster in my runs. And so I saw the benefit of cross training early on for performance. And I loved that because I'm like very internally competitive. And then as I started to think about pregnancy, I had erratic cycles. I lost my cycle for 3 years. I was like, wow, I really need to fix my body if I want to have a child. Like there's this foundational health that I believe like really needs to occur before you think about becoming a mom, or even just like trying to carry a successful pregnancy for 10 months is really hard on your body. And so it's almost like boot camp for birth.
Getting ready for that stretch of, I mean, essentially it's a year where your body is essentially put into some very different circumstances than what you're used to. And it's interesting that you say that, because for me, that was a turning point as well. When I found out I was pregnant with Marissa, during that time, I was running a lot. I was training for half marathons. I was not really fueling my body properly, or even like focusing on being strong, which if you're going to run, you also need to be strong. You can't just run.
But like the runner population, I call the runners out there. That is the population. There is a very high likelihood that they're not health focused. They're just like, oh, you ran a lot. You need a lot of calories, eat a lot of carbs beforehand, carb load, take some goos with you. And like, that's it.
Yeah, for sure. I was doing my runs fueled on caffeine. My training partner was a girl that I worked with at Starbucks.
My training partner was Starbucks.
Yeah. Well, and we worked together. So we were probably just drinking coffee and not eating enough, and then went on these long runs, getting ready for a half marathon. And actually, I found out I was pregnant like 2 weeks after I ran that half marathon. And so that was a major shift for me, was finding that out. And then something really just shifted in my brain that was like, you really need to not just focus on yourself right now. You need to focus on having this healthy pregnancy, again, because it was like unexpected. And so I really shifted and really tried to learn as much as I could. There's so much more information about that now, about strength training and pregnancy. And I mean, I found like one book that was talking about how to safely, lift weights and stay strong during your pregnancy. This was like in 2002.
Disclaimer for people who have never been pregnant. Like as soon as you're pregnant, your doctor is essentially like, don't lift anything heavier than a pencil.
And especially back then, they would encourage you to like walk or like,
breathe. do yoga. Like that's it.
And so I was thankful that I was at least able to find like that one book. And then it kind of coincided with like the time we living in Albuquerque at the time, moved to Dallas. And I think for the first time, that's when I really started to do more of a mix of strength training and then treadmill or elliptical or whatever I could do. That was probably the start of a healthy relationship with fitness. What for me was working out during that pregnancy. And I worked out up until the day that I delivered, but I felt really good. And it does make such a difference in your pregnancy if you can stay active and continue to stay strong, because you have your baby, you're rebuilding. And it takes time.
It was insane to me because I expected it. But even looking back now, my muscle just like melted. Like in those 6 weeks postpartum, you have been carrying this huge mass around for 10 months and suddenly you're not. And then you're super sedentary all of a sudden, which I wasn't sedentary during my pregnancy at all because I felt really good. Then you're putting out a ton of calories. And so if you want to know how to just like burn through muscle really quickly, it's sitting on the couch and breastfeeding all day long. And I remember my legs were like flat. Like there was just like nothing there.
Like no definition.
My husband was like, I've never seen your legs so small. And I'm like, what does that even mean? And he's like, I don't know, but they look different than they did 6 weeks ago.
And I noticed it too, like, I mean, in my butt.
Your pants fit, but like not in the way that you want
your body just changes. You have to focus on, letting your body heal. And if you're breastfeeding, like takes time. Like that's something people don't tell you. Like, and that's a whole other podcast for a whole other day.
Yes. But it is like that focus of having something beyond aesthetics that you're training for and a bigger why that gets you through it. In pregnancy, I mean, all women are beautiful when they're pregnant, but like you're not really training for aesthetics during pregnancy. Let's be honest. Like I was training for the fact that I was like going to deliver and I was going to be, in labor for 14 hours. Like I felt like I was literally training for birth. And I was also training for recovery a little bit. I was training for like this intervention that was coming so I could build my body again. I'm so happy that I figured out that training style before I got pregnant, because so many of my clients don't figure out until after.
I didn't have it until after. After Marissa was born, I did go back to like, I would say I was doing my weights however many times a week, but I was still doing way too much cardio. Honestly, just spending way too much time working out. The biggest shift for me was and Ryan played a big part in really encouraging me. If you lift weights 3 to 4 times a week, like it'll make such a difference in how you feel. And of course you have those aesthetic benefits too, but I didn't realize how good I could feel with lifting weights 30 to 40 minutes and maybe doing a little cardio at the end, maybe not, how it can truly change your body and also your mindset toward working out in general.
This never applied to me when I was younger, but now being a mom and even before being a mom, honestly, being like established in my career and very busy and very stressed, like exercise was this like very gracious moment of release, of like a mental health support. My mind is swirling with all these things that I need to do. And this is my time away. This is my time for me. This is my time to just focus on like breathing and moving my body, that I'm so thankful that and like when I shifted my mindset towards like gratitude of like the body that I have, I felt like it helped so much. And then becoming a mother and I'm like, oh my gosh, I only have 10 minutes. Like, what can I do? Knowing that like any movement is better than none, just from a mental health standpoint, so much. Because if I were to think about it in calories, well, 10 minutes doesn't seem like enough. But from a mental health standpoint, it was like 2 minutes is enough.
It makes all the difference. As a young mom, that was one thing that it really did save me, because Ryan was working long hours and I truly did look forward to, we'd go to the gym and it became part of our routine. And I'd take Marissa with me or Andrew and they'd go to the kids club. And I had this hour where I could like get a great workout in, maybe take a quick shower,
wash your hair.
Yes. By myself in the locker room.
Without a toddler staring at you.
It was fantastic. So I think that was the biggest thing when I truly made this shift to, really focusing on building strength was after Andrew, since he's 14. So it's crazy to think about.
Like I have so many clients, that are, well, what should I do? And how should I do it? And how long? And my thing is like, anything is better than nothing. And you truly want to find something that you enjoy. And I feel like enjoy kind of has like an asterisk by it, because like, did I enjoy doing sled pushes this morning? No, David Case, I did not enjoy doing those.
You don't enjoy every second of it. Sometimes you truly don't feel like
you don't.
But it's not.
I like enjoy how I feel when I leave. And I enjoy having the ability to like push myself to do hard things. And I know not everybody
But sometimes that can be empowering. There are some days that I wake up and I don't want to do any hard thing.
And then it's like, well, if I can do this hard thing, then I can do other hard things.
Then I can tackle all the other things on my list.
And I think it gives you some like resiliency. I know for me, like I work out in the mornings as much as I can because it like grounds me for the day. I feel like it really affects my mood. Like the likelihood of me like getting upset with my child or having less margin actually increases. Like working out, people are like, oh, I don't have the time. I actually think that when you put time for yourself, like in your workout or whatever, you become efficient the rest of the day that it evens out. Like somehow that 45 minutes that I could have been doing work, I figure out how to like then maximize my time in other places to make up for it because I'm a better, more efficient human because I filled my cup.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like girl math, but it works.
It works. I mean, I will skip washing my hair if I have to.
There's like little cuts that work.
There's hacks. Moving on, we talked about staying consistent and making adjustments when energy is lower, life is chaotic. I think, again, going back to like even 20 minutes, 10 minutes. I mean, if that's what you can manage, like that can make all the difference, even getting outside and going for a little walk or standing up and doing some squats or, just anything I think can make a difference in stress level and just how your body feels.
It's always a great comparison when you think about like, how am I going to feel if I sit here for 10 minutes and scroll on my phone? Or if I were to go do a 10-minute Peloton or something on YouTube outside with fresh air. Like it's a world of a difference. I went on a 20-minute run the other night and I kind of laughed when I got back. I'm like, that was literally only 20 minutes. And it was like life change.
Yeah. It's like what you need.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, wow, that was only 20 minutes. That's all it took.
I wanted to talk about managing expectations and body image through different life seasons. Because I think, again, like when you have less time, whether it's your career or juggling family, sometimes you don't have an hour a day, to work out. Or when you're bouncing back from a pregnancy, like you may not like how your body looks or feels, but still doing that thing for yourself that is going to like help you to feel better and really get your mind in the right place. Cause I truly think that that's like where it starts is, how your body feels impacts how your mind is.
I think like my body has vastly changed over the years. I think probably like a fluctuation of like 30 pounds, which for someone who's 5'3" is like a lot. There were times that I was heavier and I was in like a unhealthy place. And there were places that I was heavier in a really healthy place and vice versa. Like some of my smallest moments, I was really unhealthy. For me, this goes back to, what are the actions that are sustaining you at that body size? Are you eating well? Are you sleeping well? Like, is this body driven from good actions or unhealthy ones?
Is it really hard to maintain?
Yeah, exactly. Like I think about, at my lowest, like I had disordered eating, like I literally would not go out on the weekends. I would do active things, but I would not do social things because I just couldn't allow for those calories. And that wasn't the life that I now live or that I wanted to live, nor did it attract the type of person that I wanted to be with or marry. But I also think that this is a really powerful place where like having routine labs is so important. I constantly talk to women about this is that like if you are super fatigued, you feel like you're doing all the right things and you're super fatigued and your body doesn't look how you want. Well, have we checked your iron panel? Have we done a full thyroid?
Yeah.
Do we know if there's underlying autoimmune disease? And vice versa. We want to make sure that that your labs are always good. Even if you are at your heaviest, you may actually be at your healthiest. And so we want to use something other than your weight and your body image aesthetically to verify those feelings.
To measure that.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point that you made. It shouldn't be hard as far as the fluctuation shouldn't be as big.
Yeah.
Because then I feel like you're doing something that can be too hard to maintain.
Yeah.
For me, once I kind of started working out less actually and dedicated 3 to 4 days of weights. And then of course I throw in the classes and things that I also enjoy. But I feel like my body, and really wasn't until after I had Andrew and then like a year past that I finally started to feel like, okay, this is where my body naturally
like your set point
settles. And I don't have to feel like I'm working so hard to maintain this, effort or size or whatever. I can eat what I want. And for the most part, and enjoy life and not have to have that constant noise in my head of like, no one wants to spend that much time thinking about working out and what you're going to eat. Like, it takes up so much space in your brain.
Like if that is your full-time job, then awesome.
Yeah.
But if it's not your full-time job, like disclaimer, some people are being paid to be like certain sizes and work out certain ways. Like I am not a paid CrossFit athlete. If I was, I would look very different. Or if I was, a Sports Illustrated model, like I would probably also look very different because there's a lot of money behind that. But your goal is probably not for your body to be the most important part about you, most interesting part about you. And so if that's not, like if your body is not your business card, then it's probably important that we use other things to measure how well it's doing and its success.
And truly health. Again, going back to like
how are you
measuring
sleeping?
It? Yes. Like how are you functioning in your everyday life?
Yeah. How are your relationships? When I was super depleted and really hungry all the time, I wasn't a very nice person.
Less to give.
Yeah.
I think if you're so focused on that all the time, which is hard. If you're in that place, like there is hope. Like I think we've both experienced, having that heaviness. If you can change your mindset toward it and really be more accepting and forgiving and showing yourself more grace, I think when it comes to all of those things, it can make such a big difference.
Yeah. And I think, the point of strength training that we keep bringing up, it's so interesting to me because my clients specifically, I think like a lot of our friends are like very aesthetically focused, like want to look like more toned and I want to look more lean. And what's interesting is that even in a calorie deficit, if you don't have muscle mass, there is literally never a time that you are going to look that lean, sculpted way because there's no muscle to show. So you can continue to get smaller
and be skinny fat.
Yeah, you can be skinny fat, but it's not going to give you the look you want. Having a strong body with muscle is probably going to give you a more aesthetically valuable look than you realize if you start with that.
I agree. I think when you start to lift weights or you just get into strength training, it can be a little bit intimidating. I try to encourage people. There's a lot of power in allowing yourself to be a beginner and to learn something. Like everybody has to start somewhere.
We love to be the culture that knows everything, like ChatGPT. It's really uncomfortable to be a novice.
Yeah, to walk into the gym and feel like you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, because you literally don't, and that's okay.
We learn. The way I worked out 15 years ago is not the same. Some things remain the same as far as like the type one, but you build confidence as you go, as you get stronger. You add things and, you see your body change. The way you feel after you lift weights, it carries on through the rest of your day.
There's a YouTube platform called Nourish Move Love. It's a mom. She's like a personal trainer. She puts together workouts that simple moves with dumbbells where like if you're looking to get started and you want to do something at home, I think that's great. But I personally, like in this season, I want to go work out somewhere most of the time. I want to be with community and I want to be around other moms. Like this morning, it was me and 5 other moms working out, lifting heavy weights. And I feel like that is so empowering for me to be in a group of women who are like, yep, gonna do hard things and lift heavy weights early in the morning so I can be the best, mom, career woman can be.
And it's a nice break. Home workouts are great too. I think it's just depending on what's going on.
I use both. I think depending on like the season.
What's going on in your life. Real quick, we didn't touch on it, but what's something we can each say what's something or strategy that you use, like if you're feeling like low energy and you're maybe feeling like you don't feel like working out. I know for me, I tell myself, okay, stay 5 minutes, like do your warm up, like do your movements for 5 minutes. And if you really want to leave, you can leave. I give myself that out. But usually once I start, I feel good. And also that being said, some days, I think it is important to recognize maybe I don't need to go to the gym today. Like maybe I just need to go for a walk and take a break and that's fine too. But for you, what's something you use on days you are struggling?
My workouts are usually in the morning. So I think a lot of times it's saying it out loud. Like I'll tell my husband like, I'm really not feeling good in my workout. And he's so good about being like, hey, like you have a really busy day today. And like, that you're going to feel better if you go. Like it's definitely at the place of like, I love you and I want you to be the best you. So like
you to have a good day. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I didn't love exercise as a kid. I avoided all those classes because I just didn't like the style of stuff we had, like especially in middle school. And
PE was like my worst nightmare. I was not an athletic child.
Yeah, I hated it. I think it's just like, it was just different back then. I always called it the fat kid mile. So the first 10 minutes always suck, like in anything. Like that's just how I feel. First 10 minutes, unless it's like yoga and we're stretching or whatever. But I'm like, all right, you just got to get through the fat kid mile. So the fat kid mile for me is the first 10 minutes. So like I always tell myself after 10 minutes, you can decide if you're done, but like you got to hang in there for the first 10. And because as a kid, I had like exercise induced asthma. So like the first 10, it was like my body warming up and like getting like used to everything. I try to give it 10 minutes and then state it out loud, like my need to do it.
I know we talk about like joyful movement. How would you describe that for you?
Ooh. Okay, joyful movement for me is anything where there's a little bit of an adrenaline rush. So my dad was an adrenaline junkie, and my eyes actually turn like a little bit more green yellow when I do something more anaerobic. I don't know the science behind that, but I have my dad's eyes. And so whether it's like snow skiing or water skiing or like cliff diving, jumping off a building, I've done a lot of things.
You are definitely an adventure seeker.
Like now for me, it's like, oh, like sprinting or like those are all my joyful movement things. Like something that's like a little hard and uncomfortable, but kind of gives you that like adrenaline rush.
Yeah, a little extra buzz.
Yeah,
I think.
those are like my joyful movement things.
Yeah, I think for me, it's changed a little bit over the years. Like something I really love is anytime I get a chance to hike, like when we're in Taos, like you're in nature, the air is so fresh, like it's so quiet,
It's so beautiful.
It's just so beautiful. And so for me, I feel like that's a big joyful movement thing. And of course, the daily things, the daily workouts and the daily walks and stuff. But then also, I think power in being a beginner, like trying something new as an adult. Again, I don't feel like I'm an athletic person. I enjoy being active, but I tried pickleball recently. Well, it's been over a year, but I like it. It's so much fun. I'm not great at it. Like I would say I've gotten better, but I'm definitely still a beginner and I love it. So I think, even as an adult, you can always pick up new ways to find joy in movement.
I think that's how reformer Pilates was for me. I was like a very anti Pilates for a long time, which like session is probably just like laughing because I'm a member.
When I met you, you were
I was like,
it was not your favorite.
Go against it. Andrea's like, let's go. I'm like,
let's host a class there.
Yeah, like no thanks. Think I'm gone that weekend. But now I love it, and I think it was like super uncomfortable at first. I was like, I don't know this machine. I don't know the names of anything. I don't know the flow. I don't know how this works.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, wow, like it so comes full circle. I can go there and just turn my brain off. But it's so interesting the evolution of like being a beginner for so long and being uncomfortable. It takes time.
You find your groove though. Like with Pilates, like you can go in and once you're used to it, you flow through it and it does something calming for your mind. And I think
it's like that neuroplasticity. I think when you consistently try new things, even as an adult, it's really helpful and healthy.
Yes. Oh, that's one thing I think about pickleball is that like even the scoring, I'm like, this is going to keep my brain sharp because I cannot keep track of this score. Like, that just took me a while, but it's really going to help my neuroplasticity.
That's right. Okay, so let's talk about routine. What's your weekly kind of planned routine for workouts?
My goal, especially after 40, is to hit 4 days of weights a week. I used to aim for like 3 to 4. Now it's like, okay, I need to do 4. And so what that looks like for me is I follow a program. My husband, Ryan, writes all my programs. He's been a trainer and co-founder of the Move Project for years. And so I'm very lucky that he, will do my programs and we kind of change it up based on goals. It usually takes me about 30 to 45 minutes to get through the weights portion. And then if I want to, or if I'm, feeling it, I will do some, ball Stairmaster. I just love what it does. It's like a nice little boost. And
Andrea gets all her creative inspiration.
Yes, I feel like my brain just like turns on.
If there's a new idea, like this podcast, it came off that Stairmaster.
Yes, there's something about it. It's like either the shower or the stairs. I don't know. Or if I don't happen to do cardio at the gym, which again is a complete shift, which is so refreshing. But I will walk the dogs. We have 2 dogs, and so they need to be walked multiple times a day. And then pickleball, maybe like once a week. And so that gets my heart rate up, enjoying the sunshine. The 4 weights workouts, strength workouts per week is my foundation. And then I build upon that 1 or 2 classes every week of things that I enjoy. It's usually reformer Pilates or a sculpt class, something different just to kind of mix it up and just enjoy the time to move. What about you? What would you say is like your typical week of workouts?
I feel like it's changed so much. I feel like I'm really trying to get back into more walking. I walked so much when James was little because I always had the stroller, or I would just like put him on my chest and we would go get coffee and I would like walk for an hour. And I feel like it's now that he's like mobile, it's less of a thing. We're more like at the park, but we're not walking
chasing
there. Yeah. And so it's a little bit different. And like it changes in different seasons, but by standard, always, I mostly lift Taos throughout the week. I've been friends with those guys forever and I love their programming. So I'm usually there 3 or 4 mornings a week. And then
that's like your strength training.
Yeah, that's my strength training. And then if I'm there, if like I can't go one day, which is usually the case, I will do a home lifting workout instead. And then I will pull in Pilates like 1 or 2 days a week. And then I usually end up doing like something that I call like out of my comfort zone workout. Like I'll go do like a class that involves like a treadmill class with sprints, or it might just be like something that I've just never done before, like that Pilates or something different. My baseline and my first priority is always strength. Like I want that 3 to 4 days a week. I really aim for 4. And then when the weather's cool, we try to do like an evening walk as a family. So just some movement before bedtime.
And so over 40, as I mentioned, I think it's like even more important because again, as we get older, we lose that muscle mass
and our bone density.
And I feel like that's like the one piece of advice I would give if you're in your 20s or even in your 30s. Like if that's the one change you can make is letting that strength training in.
Well, and to not wait. Because I think the one thing is like, it takes time to learn form and the moves and like to get comfortable in the gyms. Don't wait until you're 40, like start in your 30s, start in your 20s so that you feel comfortable when you get there.
So it's not like you're trying to start this new venture all at once, especially for the bone density piece. And I know that like, weighted vests are getting pretty popular now. Are you a weighted vest girly?
Yeah, I have one. I actually told my husband the other night, I'm like, I've been doing nightly walks. I like walk almost every night after dinner. We trade off on bedtime. I'm like, I have not been wearing my weighted vest on my walks. What have I been doing? What have I been doing with my life? So yes, I have a 20-pound weighted vest because, you know, I had to make it a little bit heavier than everybody else.
I'm not going to do the standard 12
ever. No, they're like, be careful with that heavy weight. I was like, you be careful. But yeah, I walk with that once in a while. And I think that that's great, but
still, it's not a substitute. I think that's the point I wanted to
make. It's a load and you're carrying a load, which is good for like, reminding your bones that like you're building, you're holding a load, and that's great. But that would also be like saying that like carrying a toddler is like good for is strength training. Carrying a toddler is exhausting, but it's not strength training.
It's not the targeted movement you're getting to specific areas of your body. I think it's it's not really a substitute for that. But it's I'm not saying it's not a good thing to do.
I think it's great for your walk. Great. I think it makes sense. Kind of like ankle weights. Like it's kind of similar. Right?
Yeah. I'll admit I haven't been too big of a fan of it, mostly because
it's too sweaty.
Well, it makes me in Dallas.
I know
she knows me, and I don't want to cover up a cute outfit, but also, so I struggle with posture, and that is a big thing. And I do feel like it pulls me forward even more than I already do. So for now, I'm not really using it because I think I need to focus more on what I'm doing in the gym for strength. And I'm still going to go on walks. And usually I have 1 or 2 dogs with me. So if I'm like poor posture and my dogs are pulling me down the street, I'm like, it's probably not really a benefit for me.
That's true. It's not cute. Like I saw somebody when I was driving here and I was like, oh yeah, I see her with her jacket, but it wasn't cute. Her friend didn't have one on. She looked really cute. So
I don't think there's a cute one out there. I don't know. Maybe there's a market for that.
The next venture. Okay, one that just goes around like your waist instead or something. Like a weighted hat. With the scarf. Our next venture.
I wanted to talk a little bit about your strategies for time efficiency when it comes to your workout as a busy dietitian and mom, because I feel like this season of life, you've really done a great job with balancing.
Yeah. Marrying a super like wonderful person. Like my husband knows that my workouts are a really strong priority of mine, but because of that, I also get up early. So I work out at 6 or 6:30 most mornings, so that I can be back. And he has a hard stop. He leaves by 7:40. So that's like our compromise. It's like, hey, before 7:40, I got you, totally fine. Do whatever you want. But like 7:40, I'm out. And so I've had to figure out what that looks like. So I do go lift weights at the gym, but some days, and more recently, I have been doing workouts at home, and it took me a long time to convince myself that 30 minutes was long enough. But now I'm really strategic. I'm like, what can I do in 30 minutes with 110% effort? And so my workouts are shorter. And then I just try to get movement in during my day. Like on client days, I have a walking desk or standing desk that I have a walking pad underneath that I utilize. And then every other night I walk after dinner. I'm trying to find that like cumulative weekly total movement instead of it being this goal where like every day has
to be an hour and interrupted or something. Yeah. Cause that's not always doable.
No, it's not. And something between 30 to 50 minutes that happens, it's something to be really careful of. And especially a lot of my clients is like, if you work out really hard for 45 to 60 minutes, you're also going to be really hungry. And so you also have to be ready to feed that hunger. And so sometimes I'm actually better if I only work out for 30 minutes because I'm not like raging with hunger all day long.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I don't have time to like feed that athlete 24/7. I have found more efficiency in just like maximizing the usage of my time.
That's something I wish I would have realized sooner, is that it doesn't have to be so much. Like, you can be efficient and effective in like a 30-minute workout. You truly can.
Yeah. Like maybe not with like, Pilates or bar.
Yeah.
But like with lifting, you're going to see results. One last thing that I wanted to speak to, and it's when you decide to start your fitness journey or on your fitness journey, to make sure that you are like curating your social media and your feed for that. Because I think that a lot of my clients are like, well, I saw so-and-so doing this and I saw so-and-so doing that. You have to be really careful that like the people you're following are realistic and they align with your goals. Like the mamas who are like full-time personal trainers at the gym, like some of them I just don't follow because it just makes me feel like mom guilt, like I'm not doing enough, that I can't do it the same way. And so knowing the people that you're surrounding yourself with and like what you're following and whose advice you're taking, I think is so important, because I want to surround myself with moms who are like, yep, 30 minutes is enough, or like, yep, 3 days a week is enough, and not people who are making it their full-time job.
Like it kind of soaks into your brain even more so than you realize it. So
you have to be really discerning.
I agree. Even like at my stage of life, it's like, okay, I want to be healthy and strong in my 40s and beyond. And like what that looks like for me is
longevity focused,
wellness focused. But then, you do have the ones that are like, 50 something and they look like they're training for a bikini contest.
Yes, exactly.
Which is, so you have that same pressure, I think, no matter what your age is.
Be careful.
And not really pressure, but again, what are you seeing in your feed?
Yeah.
Is your algorithm feeding you?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we have so much more to say on this. There is a part about nutrition and recovery that we really want to cover. We're going to save that for our next
part 2 of this workout, because we really do want to talk about how we fuel ourselves for our workouts.
Because it is specific and it's strategic. And I think that matters. It's changed over the years.
So let's save that and we'll do our fun rapid fire round for fitness to finish up this episode.
Okay. Coffee before a workout, yes or no?
Of course, but with some food.
So I'm working out in the morning. So I earn my Americano is what I tell myself. So I just,
because you go
super
early.
I go early. So I drink water beforehand. So it took a long time to get there, but it's so much better for my gut.
But I work out a little bit later in the morning. And so I have been now eating breakfast with my coffee before school drop off. And then I go do my workout. And that's been a big change for me. And I will say it's made a big difference. I'm really glad. The blood work proves it. The blood work, the CGM,
hormone health,
all the things. That is a big change that I've made. But yes, I can't wait until 10 o'clock to have my coffee. So I'm having breakfast. All right. Morning or evening workouts. We've covered that. Early morning, mid-morning. If it's afternoon, I'm probably not going to do it. It's pretty rare. It's just too hard to get to for me. One movement every mom should be doing.
Oh man. I think like the basics, like deadlifts, snatches, squats, because like you're going to do it with your kid. Like when I do squats at the gym, I'm like, I have to lift what my son is plus the groceries.
Let's see. Favorite quick meal after a workout?
If it's quick, probably like tuna salad, greens, and some crackers.
Yeah. I love a good salmon salad for some crunch, and maybe some like those nut crackers or the seed crackers, or a smoothie. I always keep
smoothies are good so easy.
With protein powder. Okay. What's playing in your AirPods when you're working out?
Probably like really old school rap. Rap from like 90s rap is usually.
Yeah. And I'm a podcast girly. I'm always listening to a podcast while I'm working out. So I'm not really a music person during a workout. I don't know why, unless I'm doing a class.
To me.
Yeah. It's a little weird, to be honest. What is a gym bag essential?
My gym bag is like a diaper bag. Wipes. I'm really big about like, wiping my face down after my workout and using a spray, hypochlorous acid spray for like bacteria, because I feel like it just really helps.
Do you have one you love?
Active Repair Spray has one. And then there's one called Magic Molecule.
I always carry my gloves, weightlifting gloves. I think those are an essential. AirPods, lip gloss. What else? I don't know. I don't do the spray. I'm going to have to try the spray now.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, and of course, I always keep like an extra little packet of electrolytes or something. Just in case I forget. Okay, if you could only wear one legging brand, what would it be and why? That's really hard. Maybe two, top two.
Biore and Lulu. Yeah, Biore and Lulu.
For me, it's been Lulu. And I've liked Aloe lately, but only like a specific, there's only one style I like from there, but I have it in a few colors. And I hadn't tried Biore again until recently. And I didn't realize how many styles they have.
Yeah, they have more now. I feel like they have two different materials.
Yeah.
I like one better than the other.
Lulu is consistent. Like you can always count on Lulu. Fitness trend or myth that you hate?
I mean, I hate so many.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I just hate like the macros, just like the restrictive macros that comes with like the like sugar-free pudding and like fake
foods. Oh gosh.
I love people who are like realistically like, this is my macros for the day and I ate real food. But people who are like restricting and then using fake food in their calorie deficit.
Yeah. Where it's like you're just constantly trying to make something out of
work. Nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
Something out of nothing.
Yeah. Wind, glitter, and sugar-free pudding mixed in a blender together.
Yeah. To taste like chocolate pancakes. I
Yeah,
don't know.
exactly.
All right. Do you wear makeup or no makeup to work out?
No makeup.
If I'm going somewhere and I'm not going to be super sweaty, I'll do it because then I'm just like ready for the day.
Yeah.
But I'll just do like a CC cream and some mascara. But if I'm doing like a sculpt class or a heavy sweating.
Yeah, I'm like too nervous about the acne. So I just like don't wear anything. Underwear with leggings? I don't wear underwear with leggings.
I either. No.
I think that's weird. But I feel like my leggings are my underwear. But
yeah, right. And I wash them like right
weird.
after.
Take them off right away or you're having issues. I think that's it. Like
episode.
Stay tuned for part 2. So excited to talk more about like nutrition recovery.
Yes. And reach out if you have any questions about nutrition recovery after workout.
Yeah, we love talking about this stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Okay,
cool.
All right. Bye.